Hey guys, Tomboy601, and today we have another tier list. This time, the Tech Tree Cruisers. We've done the Destroyers. If you didn't catch that one, go back, check it out. What we're doing, we're going through all of the Tech Tree lines by class, at least for the three main surface classes, cruisers, destroyers, battleships, talking about where we put them on a tier list in the end of 2022, the beginning of 2023. Kind of using the tier 7s because we don't really have all the tier 8s and we really don't have all of the legendaries. So I feel like the tier 7s at least gives us a nice, decent list to go off of. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and dive on in. And first up, we have Baltimore, the American Heavy Cruisers. This line, it has to go S tier. It is just a solid what a cruiser should be. Good AP, good HE. You get those better pen angles on the AP. You get a good radar once you get up to tier 7. Like the American line of cruisers is, I feel like, the prototypical line, and it's beautiful for it. I can't say enough about the heavy cruisers. They teach you very much what heavy cruising is all about. They do a very good job of teaching you, hey, cruisers, they're going to be made of paper, but if you can get in the right position, you can deal some massive damage to anyone else. So, Baltimore, S tier. After that, we have the alternate line for the Americans, the light cruisers. And the light cruisers, they're going down to A tier. I think they are excellent light cruisers. Not the best in the game, but of like the fire setting ships, they are the ones that are going to teach you to hide behind islands. They're going to have the light guns. It's all about setting the fires. You got Norman Scott as a commander on these guys. You got a good radar once you get up. They're decent at handing out punishment to destroyers and battleships alike. Overall, I think Cleveland goes down in A tier. After that, though, we move on to the Japanese and Mogami. And Mogami they're going down to D tier. I am not a fan of these boats. I think while they can be effective in the game as is right now, I feel like 9 times out of 10, you look at a Mogami or any of the Japanese cruisers and you just think, oh, it's a floating citadel and I'm going to citadel it. These are ships that are incredibly hard to play. They are just about kiting. It's all about just stay at long range, throw HE from a very far distance, try to wiggle the butt of that cruiser so that the incoming shells don't hit, and that's the whole thing. And personally, I don't find it a very big appealing gameplay loop, so that's why for me they are down at D tier. Next, we move on to the Brits, and another S tier here. Edinburgh, the light cruisers. First off, Edinburgh, I think one of the best tier 7 cruisers, period, full stop. The light cruisers with their AP only that has fantastic pen angles that can do damage. Yes, they are small caliber guns, but I think this line teaches positioning. It teaches a ton of things very well. You get the smokes, you get the heals, you get all of the tools you really need, and then you get up to tier 7, and you are given a beautiful bow that can bow tank nearly anything, and it's gorgeous and it's wonderful. And people don't like watching YouTube videos on it because of just how great, and it's essentially easy mode. And you get the choice between smoke or radar, and you can make either of those choices work. I think the British cruisers overall, the British light cruisers, a fantastic line to go through, and Edinburgh is the peak of that line, even when you get past it into the tier 8 in legendary tier, because we do have those for the Brits. I just think right now, Edinburgh it deserves its spot at S tier. Then after that, we have the British heavy cruisers, and they're very different from their light cruiser counterparts. Albemarle is down at B tier for me. I think the British heavy cruisers can get a bad rap. I really enjoy playing them. I think they do a very good job of slinging HE. I think they are incredibly versatile. I think you just need to know what you're doing. They are very maneuverable vessels. and you need to know how to angle with these ships, especially with Albemarle. She has that nice big armor plate on the side, which you can get things to ricochet off of, but you need to know your angles. You kind of want to run almost a agility build on these vessels. They get a beautiful radar. The HE can hit like a truck. The AP does a very decent job all around. I find these guys a little bit more fun than I find myself in like Mogami. I just find that Albemarle, there's something just about these ships that you get the heals, you don't have the smokes, but you do have a decent amount of utility, and they do perform fairly well. Moving on from the Brits, let's head over to the Germans and Hipper. The German line of cruisers is incredibly strong, and that's why I'm putting it up at A tier. I don't quite think it's S tier, just because they are very much they can do longer ranges, okay, they can do medium ranges, but they just shine in brawling. And when you get them in brawling, they are cap contesting. They are some of the best closer range ships out there. And they really, really shine in that, but I don't know if they have the versatility. I think the HE performance on them lets them down a bit. They're all about really firing that AP. They do a very good job of that. They have torps, they have sonar, they have a long-ranging sonar for the line, and as a result, I think Hipper finds its way at A just because it's nice, it's tanky, it does incredibly well, and it's what you want in a brawling cruiser. And yeah, it's going in at A. After that, we move on to the French, and we find ourselves with Shaw Martel. Shaw Martel, I kind of feel like it's very similar to Albemarle, which is actually why I'm putting this line at B. I feel like Shaw Martel is a little bit weaker of a vessel than Albemarle, but I think the line overall is incredibly strong, especially the lower tiers. The tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 are some of the best cruisers down at those tiers, which is why this line is a bit, it's like up at B for me. I feel like if it was just on Charles Martel, it would go down to C. Charles Martel did recently receive a decent little buff with its reload booster, and that has brought more life into it for me. But overall, I find myself not loving to use Charles Martel, but definitely loving its lower tiers. The French ships, they have decent fire chances on their guns. They have some great commanders. They have a special engine boost that gives them a plus 20% speed boost to them, which allows them to be incredibly maneuverable, allow them to reposition, allow them to get to targets. Oh, and they have their usual their spaced magic armor that can help them. That can very much help them absorb some hits that you usually wouldn't expect them to be able to hit. So yeah, that's why they're down at B tier. Next, we are moving on to the Russian light cruisers, and that would be Chapayev. And Chapayev, it very much makes me feel like Mogami all over again, but I like it slightly more, and that's because of the utility that line ends up bringing. Both Chapayev and Mogami, they kind of feel like they're mainly designed to sling HE, and if you get a good angle, they can fire their AP and they can do some decent hits. But you want to be firing HE. They're both kind of big floating citadels. But the reason Chapayev gets to C and the Russian light cruisers get to C are a couple of reasons that put them for me over the Japanese. The first one is the radar at the upper tiers. They get a radar. Radars are incredibly powerful. Shores, I believe, gets a radar down at tier 6, which is incredibly rare, especially for a tech tree ship to get a radar down at tier 6. It's, I think, one of the only ones down there that gets a radar, and that is incredibly powerful. And then on top of that, you have the firing arcs. These are very flat firing arcs. They have high velocity. They get to the target. They don't float. It allows you to take those farther range shots, which you will need to do because you're a floating citadel. It allows you to take them and have the confidence that the shells will get there quickly and be able to still maintain damage, whether you're firing AP or HE. So that's why Chapayev up to the C tier for me. And after that, let's talk the Russian heavy cruisers. Riga bounds out this line, and I'll be honest, I ground up this line and never touched it again. Which I know there are some people who absolutely love these Russian heavy cruisers. they're just not for me. Which is why I'm putting them down at C. I think there's definitely huge potential in them. They fill a unique role, but I feel like I don't see them very much anymore at all. And when I do, I'm reminded of just sort of how much of a letdown they were. I feel like they were hyped up an incredibly high amount, but then especially in the higher tiers, they are ships that haven't really found their place inside the meta and could really use a bit of love. Finally, talking about a bit of love, let's go ahead and talk Amalfi. Amalfi we're putting up at B tier, and I'm hoping to raise this in the coming year. We know the Italian tech tree cruisers are getting access to SAP, which will be exciting. I think Amalfi got its buff this year, and it has definitely improved. I think beforehand, this was like a B tier ship, but now the line is a bit of a rough one to get through. But once you get up to Amalfi, the cruisers, they have the rolling smoke generators, which makes them incredibly unique. And soon they'll have SAP. And I think this is a cruise line you want to look out for. But right now, I think Amalfi belongs down in B tier. And guys, those are all of the tech tree cruisers. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. See ya.